One of the things that I find very interesting about this Blake Lively discourse, but also the Chappell Roan discourse, and in thinking about both of them, I obviously understand acting and producing is different than being a pop star and singer-songwriter. But I think it highlights one of the key differences in celebrity culture in the eras that both of these stars rose to stardom in, as well as a massive shift in the way that we as consumers perceive artists and their authenticity. So I'll start with Blake, and a lot of people being confused, even myself at the beginning, in this fall from grace for her. I watched Gossip Girl. I've always loved Blake's red carpet fashion sense, etc. I didn't think anything was off about her marriage to Ryan Reynolds, and yet now we're going through and seeing all of these interviews come up and hearing stories and tales and starting to realize that there have been moments and glimmers of truth throughout of Blake Lively exhibiting mean girl behavior. I don't know this woman. I'm not going to say she's a mean girl, but she has definitely been exhibiting some mean girl behavior. And with this recent press tour, it has been so tone deaf, I almost thought that it had to be some sort of publicity stunt. And then I thought that is even more insensitive to the topic of this film than the comment she's already making, so it can't be. The difference is, when we look at Blake and someone that is constantly talking about being a crown straightener and being, so a girl's girl and so feminist, and also being a Hollywood pinnacle of femininity and having a perfect marriage and being an ideal American beauty, etc., and always playing basically herself, this sort of winsome, ethereal, yet also warmly cold, mystery of a woman. When you're playing the nice girl role and you expect people to still put you on the celebrity pedestal, when you are not in fact a nice girl and that comes to light, when the pedestal starts to lower, you can't get away with that behavior anymore. It's the same with J-Lo. Whereas Chappell, despite her meteoric rise to fame, this is the beginning of her career, and I would argue that she is doing a great thing in setting these boundaries early, because she has been very upfront, both in her being a very genuine, authentic artist and someone who I think is a very sweet, good-hearted person, but again, I don't know her, but been very upfront with her boundaries and that this is an artistic persona and the safety of her family and the fostering of her mental health is going to take priority for her. In 10 years from now, if she snaps at someone, that's taking pictures at her sister's job, or comes on the internet again to disparage paparazzi outside her parents' house, we are not going to be disillusioned by her. Even if she is not as popular as she once was, even if the glow of the celebrity is starting to fade, because she set that boundary up front, and I believe this to be authentic. Blake was able to get away, and perhaps due to privilege wasn't aware of the fact that she was coming across as so mean and high school. She was able to get away with that due to the pedestal she was placed on, while still saying that she was a girl's girl. And so as she's starting to get older, as the shift is starting, or as the gaze is shifting onto new actors and new producers and new it girls, we can even look at last year's Barbie movie tour and how Margot Robbie, being a blonde Hollywood actress that also produced this great film and went on an amazing press junket and created a phenomenon while also still being very, very feminist, while also still being stylistically, forward. I definitely think that as Blake is sort of moving out of that spotlight, we're going to be a little bit more critical of her as these things start to come up, particularly as the culture of celebrity in general is dying, and we have these indie darlings and authentic alternative artists that are able to be catapulted, and we've seen this over the past several 10, 15 years, more alt and authentic artists catapulting to fame via a myriad of other ways. That's not the standard nepotism route that Blake went. This is just my perspective, but between being upfront and truly authentic in how they want to be perceived and setting those boundaries with the public at the beginning, paired with our current celebrity culture, I think it really illuminates how these two women and these two artists are, I would argue, 180-degree opposite of each other when it comes to public perception and how they're setting themselves up for these conversations in the future. At the end of the day, with Chappell, don't be weird. Respect them. I don't think that anyone should be surprised at her setting these boundaries, but I haven't noticed people calling her a mean girl in the same way that we're noticing with Blake. And as for Blake, again, I don't know her, but those interview clips are very telling, so comment your thoughts.